Be content to act and leave the talking to others. Baltasar. My friends, each and every day, your actions should be to be charting these markets, practice trading, do all that you need to do so that you can master the charts. It will be worth all of your effort, time, and energy, because once you master the charts, you'll make up for all the time you ever spent. Now, I know a bunch of you guys patting me on the back. Oh, how did you know? Well, I told you, my friends, it's an election year. And in election years, the party in charge is going to do everything they can to keep the market up. Did the Fed lower the interest rate? Yes, they did. What did that do to the market? Well, it supercharged it for the day. We see the S&P 500 up 1.71%. We see the NASDAQ 100 up 2.53%. We see gold up. We see Bitcoin up. Why? Well, guess why? Again, not that there's necessarily anything that is doing this other than what? Other than the market doing what the market is going to do. Now, we see things moving up on the S&P. We had, again, we had things shoot up all the way until the week beginning, well, it sort of peaked the week beginning the 8th of July and the week beginning the 15th of July. Then things moved down increasingly hard through that week of August the 5th. Then guess what? Somehow the market started moving up right to the spot it had moved up to before and then dropped over like it was going to go down again. But we didn't have the volume, did we? No, we did not. And then what happened? Well, we went from a spinning top to a doji last week. And then all of a sudden, when it looked like things just couldn't do anything else, what did they do? They turn around and hammer up after a Fed meeting. Is anyone really surprised? You shouldn't be. I've been telling you that they're going to do everything they can to hold this market up for as long as they can. But once the election goes by, don't expect anything but chaos. Now, we are moving out of the summertime trading zone into the winter trading zone, fall, winter, which typically is better, more stable. There's more volume. But again, this is an election year and a crazy election year at that. Who knows what will happen, but the party in charge is going to do everything they can to hold things up through the election, because you're not going to get reelected if the stock market is trashing down. Now, we see the S&P up 1.71% for the day. You see the latest two-day chart. It started today. It has blown through that prior top on the two-day chart. We can see on the weekly chart, it's peaked above it too, the candle body, and of course the wick has been above it. You can see where things hammered up in the morning, further up in the afternoon. Are we going to get to average volume here? Looks like we're probably going to do that on Friday. We'll keep our eye on things as they move forward. Now, let's see what's up with the NASDAQ 100. It was up even more, as I just said, 2.53%. Hammering up in the morning, a little further up in the afternoon after it just tracked along waiting for the word, and the word came, didn't it? And then things popped up. Now, we did have average volume last week, didn't quite have it the week before. We can see where the market was trying to test its lows. It is not a perfect turnaround by far. We'll be keeping our eye on volume. Will things keep moving up? Is there room, particularly in the NASDAQ 100, for things to move up quite a bit? There is. What are things going to do? I wish I could tell you. I can sure speculate. But again, I like to speculate with volume to back up candles that make sense. And of course, this is a nonsensical election year. I would tend to think things are going to keep going up. We're going to have some volume to help us totally see that. And this is not the way to start a trade. We like things to start off like they did on the climb, where we had the interim low. Actually, we had 2 weeks of the market finding its bottom with higher than average volume, the week beginning the 15th of April and the 22nd of April, respectively. Then we had a doji almost had average volume there. Then things really just shot up. You guys remember us riding that pony up. Then we had, again, another beautiful turnaround where we had average volume, a interim topper, a red spinning top, and then the down move. And since then, we did see things move down. We saw average volume, but it popped up and then sort of died and then has popped up again. Not my kind of chart to be jumping into an up move. I'd rather have a doji, not really a doji, a spinning top, and decent volume for a turnaround. Probably going to have decent volume, but we're going to have one of those tricky green candles and not really much of an interim low. I guess you could say it's that, but it's in the very short term after a sloppy up move. Doesn't make me feel super comfortable, but it is an election year, and we've got a ways to go in the NASDAQ before we hit that top again, although we can see that latest move topped out about where we are. So let's see what things do on Friday. And again, we'll make some decisions. What do we see going on with 20-year U.S. government bonds? They are pulling back again for the second day in a row, down 0.35%. Not as bad as it looks on the Heiken Ashi candlesticks, but again, we do have again, the average pace is showing us that bonds are really blowing off some energy there on the 2-day and the half-day chart. Now remember, this is just the first day of the latest 2-day candle. We'll see what it does by the end of the week and whether bonds have actually topped off and are going to be rolling over potentially this next week for a strong down move. Don't know that. We'll see if that gets confirmed as we move through time. Gold, it's looking bright, up another 1.55%. I mean, gold has just trundled up, pull back, up a little, pull back, up some more, pull back, and then these last 2 weeks shining brightly, hammering up. So again, looks nice there. What about Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin after 2 weeks, we had the big down week like it was with stocks on August the 5th, the week beginning then. Then some spinning tops. Then, 3 weeks ago, a down move. Then a doji after that. And then this week, trying to pop up. We can see how the 2-day chart is adding energy as we go through time. Don't have a lot of volume today with all of that up movement, but we'll see if we get up to average volume as we move toward the end of the week. But again, that Fed news was good news. Didn't kick in immediately yesterday, but not surprised as we saw it kick in today. So Bitcoin up rather nicely. We'll continue to track that, see what Friday tells us. I am curious, my friends, just to see SLV. I'd like to see what silver has done on the news. Silver up nicely for the day, also up in the morning and about the same in the afternoon. So just curious as to how that not as precious metal is moving up, and it too is going up. That is where we are as we end the day on Thursday, go into Friday with some interesting things happening in the market. I will be publishing here in just a few minutes the weekly vertical crossovers for the Patreon members. Also, Patreon members, we published for you yesterday, and we will be sending out in today's email not only the weekly vertical crossovers, but also the link to the Charting Cryptos, Commodities, and Currencies. If for any reason you don't see your email, just be aware that we put everything up for you at the Patreon site. So it's always there in case for some reason our email doesn't make it to you, goes into your spam filter, something weird happens, or if you're traveling, you can sure check out the Patreon site. Thank you so much for all of your support to everyone. Be sure to like our videos on YouTube and recommend them. And we always love to hear from you. cw@chartingwealth.com is the email address. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.